Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for another Facebook Live session. My name is Richard. I'm a community banker for Ulster Bank, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Shelley, a crime prevention officer from the Police Service of Northern Ireland. Today, Shelley and I are going to discuss fraud and scams and how to protect yourself. This week is Get Online Week, and Ulster Bank are proud to partner with Go On NI to help making getting online easy. There are several events to help improve your digital skills and to show you more about using your smartphone and your tablet devices. So please visit the Go On NI events page on the NI Direct website for more information. Now, no doubt, coronavirus has impacted all of us. So whether from going on holiday, spending time with our family, doing our shopping and wearing face masks, for a lot of people, you may be using technology a lot more, or perhaps you're shopping maybe more on it, or keeping in touch, even using your devices or certain apps for the first time. So it's really important that you enjoy all the benefits of being online, but that you also enjoy those benefits safely and be aware of the threats, especially how to spot a scam and how to stop a scam. I'm sure you have lots of questions as we go through today's session that you'll want answered. So there will be an opportunity at the end. So please pop your question in the comment section below, and Shelley and I will do our best to get through as many as we can. As a community banker for Ulster Bank, we're very proud to have a close working partnership with the PSNI and Scamwise NI. So Shelley, first of all, great to have you part of this session. You're very, very welcome. So can you tell the viewers just a little about your role and perhaps what you have noticed in terms of how crime has moved from that physical threat to the digital threat?
Hello, Richard. Thank you for inviting me to take part in your session today. So I am a crime prevention officer for PSNI. There are 13 crime prevention officers covering the province, and there is at least one of us in each policing district. In the service is to prevent someone from becoming the victim, also to help reduce the fear of crime, in particular in relation to our elderly and vulnerable people in the community. Pre-COVID, we would have delivered crime prevention advice to victims of crime. I would attend the home, I would carry out a security inspection and advise on how to best secure your home or belongings. Or if you had been a victim of a scam, I would apply the same techniques to help educate on the importance of securing your own personal information. Knowledge is key when it comes to scams and how to prevent becoming a victim. We've seen a rise in scams. Criminals take full advantage of the current climate and are preying on our vulnerabilities and taking advantage of people who are feeling lonely and isolated at this time. We're seeing more referrals from people who have been victims of romance or befriending scams. And the reason for the increase is because a lot of our community groups are closed. A lot of people are feeling isolated with no one to talk to, and scammers know this. They know people will be in the house more, so they're taking full opportunity of that vulnerability.
And Ulster Bank is a partner with the PSNI and Scamwise. So can you tell us a little bit about the work of Scamwise and what that partnership does?
Yeah, so the Scamwise partnership is a fantastic social media outlet. It aims to raise awareness of scams and how to prevent them. The partnership works together with its partners to keep you safe from the risk of scams. Partners include over 30 law enforcement, statutory, charity, commercial and voluntary organisations, as well as government departments. The Scamwise Facebook page has over 10,000 followers, and I would encourage everyone listening here today to give the page a like. The Scamwise page has all the most up-to-date information on the latest scams that we're dealing with. That may include phone scams, online scams, scams by post, doorstep fraud and cold calling. The partnership has also published 2 new books in recent weeks: The Little Booklet of Phone Scams and The Little Book of Cyber Scams. And a link for both these publications can be found on our Scamwise Facebook page. Recent figures indicate that over £200,000 has been lost in scams in September in Northern Ireland alone. Most of them telephone scams, but quite a lot of that percentage is in relation to internet scams.
Actually, and that's a huge amount of money in Northern Ireland in 1 month, and that's just not just a one-off figure. We probably see that reported by Scamwise every month, and sometimes even higher figures. So, this just illustrates how serious is that threat of scams.
That's right, Richard. It's just like protecting your home, protecting your car, your family and the community. It's just as important that we are aware of the online threat and what to do to stay safe. The fact is now that you're actually more likely to fall victim to fraud than any other crime in the UK. I've already given you just some of the recent figures in Northern Ireland. In the age that we live in, and especially with us doing so much more digitally, it is really important to be aware of scams and frauds. So just like protecting our homes, our vehicles, ourselves and our families, it is just as important that we take simple and practical precautions when online. Richard, perhaps maybe we should explain the size of the problem and who exactly it affects.
Yeah, I've just got a few figures here for you. So criminals do not care who they target. So professional people, business owners, and while probably just over half of those victims, 53% are over the age of 55, we've also seen young people being targeted, so perhaps on social media. And all it takes is a minute or two distraction, an email with a link on it to click on, or a really good deal, or even just a friend request online. And we're going to talk about those today. Anybody can be a victim.
Yeah, that's right. Anyone can be a victim. And last year, scams cost the UK economy over £1 billion, which just highlights the size of the problem. Before COVID, Richard and I would have dealt with many situations where people had lost anything from a few £100s to individuals and businesses that had lost tens of thousands of pounds, and unfortunately, sometimes even more. The latest figures from Action Fraud, which is the UK's National Fraud Reporting Centre, tell us that over 3,300 victims of coronavirus-related scams alone have lost 15 million. And that's only just been reported in the last few months.
And Shelley, one of the other figures we have on screen there, only 5% of scams are reported. So all those scam stories that we hear about every week from organizations like Scamwise NI, or we hear about on TV, or we read about in the newspaper, is really only a tip of the iceberg. So can you share just why that is and the impact that it has on its victims?
Yes, Richard, that's right. A lot of scams go underreported, and this can be for many reasons. So my personal experience when dealing with scam victims is that often the victims feel too embarrassed to tell anyone. They could be embarrassed because they've fallen victim of a romance scam or even a sextortion scam. And that's where they've received an email telling them that there is evidence of them visiting adult websites and they're basically held to ransom. Often they don't report to police or to the bank, or they don't even talk to any family or friends. Instead, they keep it to themselves and they worry for weeks or even months of just worrying of what everybody will think of them. This can lead to loss of appetite, being unable to sleep, even leads to a loss of themselves. They close themselves off from the outside world, not even going to the local shop for fear that someone will ask them how they're doing. I've personally dealt with victims who have been in a situation, and I can tell you it's heartbreaking when you're out with somebody and you know that they're sitting and they're suffering. There's a huge impact emotionally and financially, and it also knocks their confidence, their independence, it knocks their present and their future relationships. And unfortunately, even in today's social distancing climate, it can also lead to even further isolation. If you know anyone that is suffering, please try to encourage them to open up. It's cases like this that I often get my victims to like the Scamwise page, as they can gain knowledge on scams, and they can also know that they're not alone, and they can gain the confidence that to go and report, they know that there is support for them, and it can also encourage them to report to the police and the bank.
Shelley, and I totally endorse that, and that's why we're holding this session today, so that we can talk about these scams. And all too often my colleagues and I end up talking to customers who have been a victim of a scam, or they were just about to become a victim of the next scam, or the next victim. So Shelley, can you tell us a wee bit about how this cycle works? Are you seeing victims being caught out more than once?
Yes, unfortunately, they can be caught out more than once. A lot of scams out there are based on simple grooming techniques, so designed to lead the victim into parting with information or money. So these could be romance scams, or they can pretend to be from the bank, possibly telling them about a suspicious transaction on their account, or from HMRC, telling them about a coronavirus payment, or even threatening a fine. We've also seen them pretending to be from the police fraud department, telling them that there's fraud in your bank and that basically they need to move money from one account into another account safely.
So what you're saying is that spotting a scam is becoming increasingly difficult, you know, if fraudsters are going to the extra lengths to disguise what they're doing, and scams continue to be more convincing. So can you tell us a little bit about just the ways that scammers are getting hold of information from us?
Yeah, so the issue is that if we get something stolen, we may be insured for it. So say, for instance, we get our car stolen, we get our car stolen, we get our house broken into, that's insured. But once you get your personal information stolen, you can't get it back. There's a global marketplace for this data on the dark web, and Facebook login details are being sold for a few pounds. It's extremely likely that some of your personal details are already in the hands of criminals. So therefore, it's only a matter of time before criminals will try to use your data and try to scam you, basically try to get your money into their bank account.
So can you explain just, you know, the different things that fraudsters want?
Yeah, so to access this, they want things like your password. They want your PIN number, your date of birth, your address, your personal information. They may try to find some of this information in the public domain. So say from your Facebook account, if you have one, or they may try to contact you to trick you into giving this information over.
So hang on a second. So earlier on you said there about, you know, my details could be in the hands of the criminals. So, you know, so tell us a wee bit more about what you mean by that.
Yeah. So sometimes your information is stolen. So fraudsters often hack companies to defraud the company. But while doing this, they also steal the company's customer information. So that information, companies like British Airways, EasyJet, TalkTalk, Ticketmaster, Currys, they have all suffered data breaches.
And is there any other ways that they can get our information?
Yes, sometimes you will unknowingly give your data away. So many of us use emails every day. It's a quick and easy way to communicate for work, keeping in touch with friends, or we receive emails from companies that we buy from. How often do we click a link or an attachment from an email? By doing so, it could enable fraudsters to download malware, which is malicious software, which when downloaded can infect your device, and the fraudsters can spy on you or steal your data. The other way is sometimes we willingly give away our data and our information, make private information about ourselves public on social media. Maybe it's a survey or a quiz that we take part on, and that survey or quiz may be fake. Or do you like and share a post that you could win in a competition? Criminals are very clever at collecting data. Often they'll go onto social media to fill in the gaps and to find all that important piece of missing information. So if anybody has a Facebook or Instagram, do you have your date of birth listed on it? Just something for you to think about.
Yeah, I think it's important that we do, you know, as part of this conversation, do think about our information. And it is important in a digital world that we live in to protect what it is important to us, as you talked about earlier on. And nowadays, our personal information is just as important. You know, so I say, treat your personal information as you would your cash. Don't just go handing it out to anyone.
For people watching today who perhaps are using their smartphones to send texts or on their devices to do some emails, Richard, what should they look out for?
Yeah, I've just got a wee slide just on an example, or a couple of examples around this. So this is the first one on the left-hand side is a text message. So this is a phishing text. So would you respond to this type of text if you've got a mobile? It's purporting to be from your bank, suggesting that your personal details have been updated, and for the recipient to click on a link in order to verify the details. It suggests that your account has been compromised, so you need to act. You know, companies such as banks do use text messages to keep their customers informed about their account. It all seems very straightforward. But once you click on that link, you could go to a fake website, or you could start downloading that virus that Shelley was talking about to your device. And as well as a message coming from your bank, it could also be a text message that comes from HMRC telling you about a payment, or from the MOT centre offering you an extended MOT due to coronavirus, or in fact, these texts can appear from any recognised company such as Amazon, PayPal, or even your own mobile phone company. The other example, just on the right-hand side, is a TV license and email scam. Now, there are thousands of these fake emails circulating. So currently there's changes within the TV license, so fraudsters will prey on that uncertainty and delays by sending out fake emails and text telling you that you need to pay your license, or you need to update your details, or you've missed a payment, or your account has been suspended. And again, the email has been disguised to look like it's from TV licensing, and it's very easy for fraudsters to disguise an email or a text message. And there will be a link to click on to complete your personal and financial information. And once fraudsters have your data, Shelley said earlier on, they will use it and maybe impersonate you, or they'll try to take over your online banking. So Shelley, can you tell us, give us an example of maybe a classic impersonation scam?
Yes, I can, Richard. Just a few weeks ago, I received a referral from one of our local policing teams. A call, which was an elderly lady who had fallen victim to an impersonation scam. So she was in the house when she received a call from a male who stated that he was from HMRC. He asked her to clarify some personal details, and then he told her that they had been doing some background checks and that she owed £21,000 in unpaid taxes. Now, you can imagine this lady is elderly. She lives on her own and she hasn't worked for several years. He told her that the situation had come to light and that if she didn't pay the money, they would have no alternative only to phone the police. The police would come round, she would be arrested and put in jail. So just imagine how frightened that lady must have felt at that stage. He then said, if you don't want the police coming, I can take £500 payment today, but you need to go to your local supermarket and get me the money on Amazon vouchers. Come back to the house and I will ring you and I will get the codes from those vouchers. So off the frightened lady went. She phoned a taxi and she was on her way out to get the taxi when her neighbour had spotted her from her living room window. Now, she thought it was a bit strange because she knows that the lady's daughters generally call every day and take her to wherever she needs to go to. So feeling a wee bit uneasy about it, she called out to the lady and she asked her what was happening. She asked the taxi to wait and she took her to one side and she said, you know, what's going on? The lady broke down to her and told her exactly what had happened about the telephone call. She needed the money. She was going to be arrested. The neighbour knew straight away that this was a scam. Okay, she brought the lady into the house. She settled her. She rang her family. She contacted the police and we were able to go down and offer her guidance and reassurance. Luckily, this lady had someone to look out for her, and luckily the neighbour knew that this was a scam. This could easily have ended up with this lady losing a lot of money. This is a sad story that unfortunately has happened on numerous occasions across the province.
It's just so shocking, Shelley. You know, totally agree. And in fact, actually, one of my colleagues stopped a scam just like the one that you've just described, you know, as recently as Friday. You know, so as well as impersonating police officers, fraudsters can impersonate your internet company, telling you maybe that your internet is slow or that you've been hacked, and to fix it, they just need access to your device. And they'll email you a link that they'll ask you to click on, and this connects them to you. But what they've really done is by clicking on that link is that they will download software that enables them to view your keystrokes, so everything that you're typing into your computer. And once they're connected to you, they'll try all sorts of tactics, even offering you compensation and asking you to log into your online banking to check for a payment. But they're watching your screen. They can see what you've typed for your passwords. Now they have control. And they'll try to transfer money out. And they'll even ask you to share one-time passcodes that come from your bank.
So what can we do to protect ourselves?
So just moving on, next slide, just a few top tips. Okay, so make sure that you know who you're really talking to. We will never contact you out of the blue asking you for your card reader codes, your PINs, your passwords, your login details or passcodes. Never give these away.
Okay, the second one would be the bank or the police or any trusted company will never ask you to move money to a safe account or withdraw cash and give it over or make a payment in vouchers. You will never be threatened of arrest if payment isn't made immediately.
Number 3, always verify the caller using an independently verified phone number, such as the one that's on a website the caller says that they're calling from. Do contact the bank as soon as possible. If you think something's just not right, we will help you. And I would remind our viewers, never respond to a link or a file on a suspicious text or email, and never give remote access to download software. Just moving on, in the current climate, many of us are not out and about as much, and our first choice may be shopping online. So, Shelley, what are you seeing as a result of your role, people losing out to fraud and scams when attempting to purchase things? And can you maybe give us a wee example of an online shopping scam?
Yes, so you're right, Richard. We are seeing more and more people shopping online rather than going to busy stores or having to stand in long queues. We do think rise in online shopping coming closer to the festive holiday. It is important to look out for scammers while shopping online. We have seen an increase in people falling victim to scams on marketplace websites. So an example of that I dealt with recently myself is a lady who was looking to buy a washing machine, and she saw what she was looking for advertised on a local buy and sell page. She contacted the seller and agreed a price. They both agreed on a cash sale, and the buyer provided her home address to the seller to deliver the item. Due to current COVID restrictions, the item could only be left outside her house rather than delivered to her kitchen. She handed the money over to the seller, and then he was on his way. When they removed the packaging from the washing machine, what they found was a pallet which was filled with bricks. No washing machine. The lady quickly realised that she had been scammed. She rang the mobile number to find that it was not connecting. She then contacted the buy and sell page to find that the ad had been removed. She had paid cash, which meant that there was no way to stop the payment, and she had no way to get the cash back, and she was left with no washing machine. So it's a very sad scam because now we have a family who have lost out. We have a family who now have no washing machine and possibly may not have the means to purchase another one. Everyone loves a bargain. I love a bargain. We all love a bargain, but be scam aware. When buying from social media and online marketplaces, always do your research on the seller. Check your item before the exchange. Always check it and make sure that it's in working order. And try to have somebody else there with you. Try not to sort of do a sale on your own if you can have a wee bit of backup. But again, check out the Scamwise Facebook page, because the Scamwise Facebook page will highlight all these types of scams.
Yeah, deals that are too good to be true, my granny says, always are. So what can we do to stay safe from online shopping? So just a few top tips. Number one, use secure websites. So look out for a padlock symbol in your browser and HTTPS at the start of the web address. And that S tells you it's a secure connection. But I do remember that a secure page doesn't always mean that the retailer is reputable.
So always use a safe way to pay. So like your debit card or your credit card. Don't transfer money directly. When making online purchases, never pay a direct bank transfer. This is exactly the same as handing over cash, and you have no protection. No matter what the reason the seller gives for wanting payment in this way, refuse, as fraudsters often come up with lots of different stories to try and persuade you to transfer your money to a bank account instead of paying by another method. Be suspicious of anyone who asks for this type of payment.
And don't give anyone your full details. You know, scammers are really convincing. If anyone, even someone claiming to be from your bank or police or organization, gets in touch and asks you for information such as your login details, don't do it. It's a scam.
Yeah, so don't open unexpected emails from anyone that you don't know. So scammers may send your emails or texts which look to include a gift, but actually it includes viruses. You should never be asked for personal information like passwords or account information by email. If in doubt, do not click on any links or download files.
And please do get in touch with your bank if you're ever unsure that something is genuine. Call us from the number on the back of your card or from their website. We do understand that that's just a brief overview of online shopping. So again, any questions, please pop them into the comments box. Now, Shelley, what type of scam would you say that you deal with maybe most recently, and what has been the impact on the victim?
So one of the fastest rising scams and most difficult ones to deal with are the romance scams or the befriending scams. Recently, I had to deal with a victim who was a female who was looking for companionship after her husband had passed away a few years ago. She was on Facebook and she had commented on a photo about enjoying outdoor living and the countryside. Out of the blue, a man commented on her post saying he also enjoyed the countryside, and he sent a few messages back and forward. The next day, she received a friend request from him. She didn't think anything from it and she didn't want to be rude, so she accepted the friend request. The next day, she received a private message on Facebook asking was she enjoying the outdoors as it was a hot day. They continued to exchange messages until he suggested that they move their conversation from Facebook onto WhatsApp. These are common tactics used by a scammer, is moving the conversation somewhere private where it is just you and them. They have a similar interest to you and they mirror your own personal circumstances. So this friendship went on for several months. The male didn't live in the country and she had been sending him small amounts of money every few weeks over a period of nearly a year. He came up with lots of different excuses. He needed a new suit. His mother was ill and needed medication. He had moved house. He needed to update his broadband. He needed food. His car broke. Numerous, the list goes on and on. He played on her heart. The whole time he was telling her how much he loved her, how he couldn't wait to be with her, how he was going to move over here, and they were chatting every night on private messages. This all came to an end when her grandson discovered messages on her iPad, and I was asked by the family to go down and speak to the mother, and it was very sad. This lovely lady, who was clearly in love, she didn't want to hear a bad word said about her online partner. The family had a difficult time trying to remove this male from her life. She felt lonely. She told me that she helped out all the time and she'd done everything for the kids. She lifted them from school. She lifted the grandkids from football. She went for dinners every week in all her daughters and sons' house, but no one ever asked her how she was. And that's one thing that the scammer done. He asked her how she was every day. So it was so sad. And I could give you lots of other examples similar to this. The money was gone and the impact financially and emotionally on this lady is huge.
You mentioned there, like, what sort of things are they saying that they need the money for? What are the common reasons?
A lot of the reasons will be they need to pay for flights because they're so in love with you, so they just can't wait to come over, so they need money for flights. They'll also maybe need money for a visa. Some of them will say that they are workers, they're project managers, and they maybe need to pay off their workers before they can come to see you. They're in the army, they're serving, and they need to pay to get out an early leaving fee. The big problem is at some stage the victim may have sent so much money that they become entrapped, and this can lead to them sending more money and even taking out loans to try and maintain this. So it's just a vicious circle, really. Remember, these scammers are professional criminals and they are very clever. And the very clever ones won't ask for money outright. Often it ends up with the victim offering to give them the money.
Yeah, and like any top tips you can share just around how to spot a romance scam for people maybe who are talking to people online?
Yeah, so don't accept random messages from strangers on social media. Okay, be wary of approaches made and stories that sound just like your personal situation. So if you're widowed and they're widowed, if you like golf and they like golf, if they will try to mirror everything about you. Remind yourself, if you've not met this person face to face, and talk to someone that you can trust, a friend, family. If you're asked for money, it's a scam. Delete the person straight away, block them and contact the police, or go and contact your bank if you've already paid money. So people who have fallen victim to romance scam tend to report the same pattern. If you're someone and you know someone that's maybe using an online dating or a friendship site, and any of these, anything that we've talked about today sounds familiar, it may indicate that a scam is happening. Generally, the scam starts with an initial contact by the scammer.
Yeah, absolutely, Shelley. And the fraudster will make contact through the dating, online dating websites, or maybe it's an online forum that you've joined. And they'll also contact you through maybe social media, as you talked about, Facebook and Instagram. Therefore, you should never accept friends from people you don't know. The fraudster may say lots of questions about them, about yourself. It may seem reasonable, but the more information they know about you, the easier it is for you to be manipulated. They will shower you with compliments and claim that they are falling in love. So if it all seems to be happening too fast, it might be a scam. And if some part of their story just doesn't sound quite right, or it didn't match what they've said last month, it's a real red flag. You just look out for grammar and spelling mistakes. If someone says they're from the UK but writes as if English isn't their first language, it's another red flag. And if they do refuse to video call or meet in person, maybe their phone is broken or they have no internet or whatever the excuse is, you just look out for that. And in some situations, they will hold a video call. At the end of the day, you don't really know who they are, and the risk for them is worth it for the money. So a couple of top tips just in terms of protecting ourselves from not just ourselves, but our friends and family, and maybe to share around romance scams, Shelley.
Okay, so talk to someone you trust about what's happening and who you're speaking to or who you're in a relationship with. You can always come and talk to the bank, or you can always come and talk to the police. Look out for the warning signs. How did you first connect with this person? Did they approach you? And if so, please be vigilant. Take it slow. A lot of times in romance scams, I'm heard all the time that it's 100 miles an hour. Everything moves very fast. So take it slow. If something just seems a wee bit off, trust your instincts. Don't let your heart rule your head. Don't send money to someone that you haven't met in person. No matter how much they tell you they love you or want to be with you, do not send any money. Stop all communications and block all contact with the person if you're worried or suspicious, and get in contact with the bank or the police straight away.
Yeah, thanks for that, Shelley. Lots of good top tips. So just coming up to close this session off, we know we've covered lots today. So where can you get more information and support from? So a couple of things we have on screen there. Number one, Ulster Bank Security internet page. Click on the help and support, and then click on security and fraud. There's lots of information and guidance into scams, what to look out for, the different types, plus lots of useful videos that you can watch and share with your friends and family. The second one there is the Friends Against Scams website. So this is a national trading standards initiative that Ulster Bank partners with, and the aim is to prevent people becoming victims of scams. So in just 20 minutes, you can be a friend against scams by completing their simple online training program. And they've recently updated that page as well to include some of the current coronavirus scams that you're seeing.
So if you think you've been a victim, contact your bank or report the scam to Action Fraud or Policing 101. You can also contact your local crime prevention officer by contacting 101. You give the operator your area that you live in, and they'll put you through to the right crime prevention officer. But please, please talk to someone. Yeah,
thanks. We appreciate your help and to help fight against scams. So please continue to talk about scams within your communities and keep reporting scams. By reporting crime, we can help fight it. And if we fight it together, we can help prevent it. So just before we open up to some questions, again, if you have any questions, pop them into the section below. But we'll just share maybe 5 top tips to keep us all safe. And the number one is be extra careful if you receive any phone calls, texts, or emails from anyone claiming to be your bank or trusted organization. A genuine bank or organization will never contact you out of the blue, ask you for your PIN, your full password, your card reader codes, or your passcodes, or to move money to another account. Your personal information is yours. Don't give it away.
Never click on a link received in an email or a text that then takes you to a website requesting personal information or login details. Always go via the search engine or direct to the company's website. Treat any text or email that is unexpected, has a sense of urgency, and has a link on it as suspicious.
And never allow remote access to your computer from any third party. You know, often you're asked to download an app or send an email or click on a link, maybe something that's called TeamViewer. Current types of this type of scam at the minute impersonate companies like Amazon or Netflix.
So take 5, stop and think about what you're being asked to do. If you're concerned at all, please stop and talk to family or friends.
So thank you, Shelley. Yes, take 5. I think it's one of the most important things I say to stay safe. You know, lots of top tips there for us to take away. We will now open up to some questions. So again, if you have any questions, pop them into the comment section and we'll try and answer them for you today. So let's see if we have any questions, Shelley, for us to ask. So first of all, we're joined by Keith. Keith, welcome. Thank you very much. So any top tips keeping our devices secure? I think it's a really, really important question, Keith. First of all, I would say to you, number one is make sure that you keep your operating system all up to date. Keep your devices, operating systems all up to date. And also, I would say make sure that your devices are protected. Just like you protect your home and protect your other valuables, protected with a good, strong antivirus and firewall. If you're an Ulster Bank customer, we have a free offering to our customers to keep them safe called Malwarebytes, which is a free anti-malware software. So please check out our website for that. And other things I would say as well is look at things like face login or fingerprint login. Not only is it brilliant in terms of, because I'm trying to remember pins and passwords, can be a real challenge, but it's a really handy, safe way to log into your apps and into your devices. So set that up, your face and fingerprint login. Anything else I've missed there, Shelley?
No, just in terms of for any parents out there, make sure that everything's closed down for your kids, and if they are going on and liking any sort of apps or games, personally I would advise for you to go on and download the apps and games yourself, because it's the only way you'll know how they work is if you actually know how they work, and then you can help monitor them for your children. Yeah,
good call it. Thank you. Don't think we've any other questions coming through, but again, if you have questions, pop them onto the chat. And our team will come back to you. But we are out of time. I'm sorry if we haven't been able to answer all your questions, but thank you for joining us. We know we haven't covered all types of scams, but hopefully you've got a flavour of the techniques that scammers use and what you can do to protect yourself. Please let us know if you find this session beneficial. Give us a wee thumbs up on the like button on this link. And I'm sure that you do know someone who would benefit from this session. So please, just before you log off, tap on the share button from this feed and send it to someone that you know to help keep them safe. And while you're at it, please go to the Scamwise NI page and give it a like too. Can I say a huge big thank you to Shelley for joining us today, for taking the time out of your busy role to talk about fraud and scams. Shelley, as always, it's a pleasure to work with you. So thank you. Thank you to everybody who has watched today. We will be back for Ways to Bank at 11 o'clock this Wednesday as part of Get Online Week. Siobhan and Keith, my colleagues, will discuss Ways to Bank quickly, safely and securely from your home. And on Friday, Steph and I will hold a webinar on digital safety. So please get registered for that. So thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you again soon. But in the meantime, please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.